So have you dealt with the loss of a parent, whether 30 years ago or 3 months ago? Losing a parent, a mother or a father, is really tough stuff. There are tons of books about it, podcast episodes, but when it comes to where you're at, it's meeting yourself where you're at. So as we delve in today, this is something that's very raw, very real for me, something very recent in losing my father. So I'm going to muddle through this episode, but this is coming tremendously from my heart today. So the first aspect of losing a parent is that it's unique. That when it comes to other aspects of loss in life, whether it be a sibling, it could be an uncle, grandparent, best friend, cousin, the list can kind of go on, they have their own categories. And I know that can kind of sound weird, but when it comes to losing a parent, there's just a different facet of it that can impact us differently. And why I say this is because it can catch us off guard. Why am I feeling this way when I felt this way? Different sets of emotions at different times for this person that I may have lost maybe just a few years ago or years and years ago. And this is where these aspects, so we don't realize, it's allowing ourselves to give ourselves permission to say, I am feeling how I'm feeling, and it's different from maybe how I felt from an experience of grief or loss before. Because when we lose a parent, there's also this aspect of where we're at in our life, age-wise. So whether we were 5 years old to 50 years old, there's so many different emotions involved. When you're 5, there's so many less experiences, memories, compared to 50. I had all these, but I still feel like I missed out on this, or everything's layered and everything's different. And knowing and reminding yourself, this loss is unique, it is my own. And with that, it's realizing people can truly, truly mean well with saying, I know how you feel. I believe it's kind of an attempt to, I don't know what to say, or I'm trying to provide some form of support. And the reality is, no one knows exactly how you feel but you. And with that, knowing it's okay to have these different emotions that are different from other different losses that you had in your life. Your experience is unique. It is your own. And it's allowing yourself truly permission to have these ranges of emotions and not allowing yourself to feel a sense of guilt or weirdness. There's no weirdness involved. Am I weird? Am I strange? Am I awkward for having this sense of severe just sadness or the severe anger or guilt or frustration? It is getting us to our next point, a roller coaster, my friends. There are books, thousands of books out there. There are support groups that can do wonderful things in counseling. What I need to let you know is every single person is individualized when it comes to their grief. It can be raw, whether you were 5 and at 5 years old that I miss my mom or I miss my dad. And then as you age, having different seasons of emotion. We don't always talk about that. You know, I have had my father, I'm thinking of my sister right now, who actually is in labor as we speak, and is in her early 40s. And in her mind, I know her heart is aching. She wants my dad to be able to hold her son. And that's a whole different feeling of rawness and just, I wish you were here in a season of her own life. It is unique. It is a roller coaster that is so hard to explain, and you're not a weirdo for this level of roller coaster feeling, whether it's a few months or whether it's years down the road. Giving yourself permission to feel, because when we feel without this attached guilt or weirdness, it allows us to begin and continue the process throughout the course of our life of grief and release. And I'm never going to use the word healing, because we never fully heal, but continuing and fusing those pieces that are so askew, if you will. A few days ago, I was cleaning out, with some friends, my parents' shed. And, there's like half used cans of oil and electrical tape and line from the weed whacker, and I'm like walking, and I put it down, and I found my dad's hat, and I just start for an hour, I'm bawling. I do not cry a ton in life, and there's nothing wrong with that if you do cry. I found myself truly emotionally unhinged, and at one point it was, no, actually a friend of mine was there and said, just let yourself cry, ugly cry, and it's okay. Listen, when it comes to the aspect of losing a mom, a dad, it's such a level of loss that there's no preparation, okay? Even if it's the person was sick or we knew this was going to happen, but in terms of your own grieving process, there are no tried and true ways of knowing this is how I'm going to feel right now. It's not. It's kind of like you're in the boxing ring and your opponent, your emotions, at any time can just be sitting there kind of like this holding, my fists are up. I'm just kind of swaying a little bit. And then I just sucker punch you or I hit you in the gut. And it's this clobber that can just be brutal. What we all require as human beings, with whatever things you experienced prior to that person leaving this earth, it's allowing yourself to just be emotional, allowing yourself to go through what you need to go through. And I'm going to preface it with this because sometimes we go through this roller coaster and there's a lever, there's a bar, there's a support on that roller coaster for a reason. And it's the same thing with us, that whether it's, hey, I can't deal with seeing a person and having to, sit and go to a therapist. It can do tremendous things, but if your heart is not right, is not there yet, or something that it just doesn't align with you, well, what does? What helps? What is some form of support? It could be coffee with a friend. It could be journaling. It could be listening to music that, man, it makes you ugly cry, but remember and feel that person. And I know, man, it sounds so weird, but allowing ourselves, our hearts to feel, allowing ourselves to get to a sense of, okay, this is okay to feel this way. Grief is hard, grief is raw, grief is ugly, and grief is ongoing on so many different levels. You could be listening to this and say, I lost my mom 40 years ago and I still hurt. Well, no, that's okay. I remember sitting with my dad, and he lost his mom. I'm going to say he was in his early 30s. She's in a car accident. And he lost his father when he was 15 years old. And I remember sitting with him and kind of talking with him and just saying, how did you get through it? And him, really saying, as a 15-year-old boy, I just wanted a relationship with my dad. And he shared he didn't have a great relationship with his dad. And I know with all my heart, there was always kind of that void that he had. And it took him many years to process. My grandfather was sick for a number of years, passed away when my dad was 15, so I never got to meet him. But my dad, I believe, found some form of fusing his heart with trying to truly be the best father and husband he could be, because he missed out on so much. And I believe, man, you could say the timing right now, Aaron, I don't want to hear mindset. Mindset can be a really hard thing to fight for. But I will say from experience, professionally and personally, when we run hard, even though we're tired and we're just weak and we're weary, for a mindset of, I'm just going to keep going forward, a mindset of, I know I'm tired right now and weak, but reaching out for someone's hand, talking to a friend, writing a book, and remembering. I know my dad, as a 15-year-old boy, dealt with the loss of his father differently than a man in his early 30s with 3 little kids and a wife. And her death was very sudden, and really kind of crappy. And it's something that, years later, he just missed his mom. And it was, never hearing him say it was unfair, but I know over the years it was coming to peace with things, and that's really hard to do at times. But I feel that if we allow ourselves the opportunity to grapple. We can feel so guilty or out of sync or sorts of like, I'm grappling. Should I be You can grapple. Allow yourself to grapple. Allow yourself to try to figure out what the heck is going on and know that that's okay. Where you are is okay with where you are, remembering the fact that your grief is unique. It is your own. You will have different seasons that will fluctuate throughout the course of your life, and remind yourself to give yourself permission that that's okay. It is okay. And realizing that, okay, as I go through these different emotions, it'll be a roller coaster. But on that roller coaster, there is that lap bar, that support, finding ways to support my heart and mind that provide a sense of peace, encouragement, regaining forms of strength. And that has to fit you. That has to fit you in a way that is your timing, kind of aligning with that. I know for myself, my mom has been a tremendous source of just being together, talking on the phone with my sister. We live miles and hours away, but having that, and it's been really hard at times where you just like cry, you just miss, there's that emptiness to, there's times I go in my yard, I'll go in the backyard at night and I find solace in prayer. God, I know where my dad is. I'm just missing him like heck right now. And that's okay. Getting through this here. Meet yourself where you're at. And that gets us the aspect of what is it that fuses your heart. Slowly, those pieces that can kind of, even if they're overlapping, be a little bit better than they were before when you felt shattered. You felt hurting. You felt wherever you're at. And some of us have had different experiences when it comes to our relationships with our parents. Sometimes not healthy. Sometimes there's regret. Sometimes there's guilt. Sometimes there's unresolved hurt, if that makes sense. And knowing that, I believe that we can't hit the rewind button, right? We can't change the past, but what we can do is allow ourselves to let go. That it's letting that person go, seeking to be at peace with that, and finding our own way for what we're going to call resolution. And that could be writing a letter and burning it. That could be just speaking out loud to the person. That could be whatever you need it to be. Thoughts in your mind, listening to music that reminds you of that person, finding ways that work for you. And again, it comes back to the uniqueness of grief, particularly when it comes to a parent. I believe when it comes to the people that we lose, focusing obviously today on the aspect of losing a parent, our minds can get grainy over time, like when it comes to different memories that you want to extract, because as time goes on, sometimes those memories can become really grainy. Write what you remember down. On your phone, you have a thought. Record yourself that you can either keep that video kind of dialogue going, or you write it down to have for yourself. Those memories are so important. I have learned in life that the things around us, the material objects, don't mean anything. What is so precious, I find pictures of years ago, pictures of months ago, that I feel like reach and just touch that person and be right back to that time. And they're precious to me. They're invaluable. And so memories are something that money can't buy, but with time they can become diluted. So wherever you're at, those memories, it's okay. And those memories, you could be writing things down and crying and snot and ugly it's okay. Write it out if that's something that you feel that aligns with you, that it will help with your memory, it can help with your heart, and it can help with your mind. And the last one is be kind to yourself. Be kind, my friends, be kind, because we can be really tough on ourselves. And thinking, well, I'm now, this many months in, or this many years in, or this many whatever in, and I'm still feeling. Allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to find sources of support. And that means something different for everybody. I know for myself personally, having faith, the aspect of being able to come in prayer to God and asking for peace, asking for a sense of just the ability to breathe when I felt like my heart was going to come out of my body. And that daily dialogue of, I don't know why this happened. I have no answers. And there's times that I've gotten angry with God. There's been times where I've yelled, cried, but having that ability to seek and find support and strength and peace has been life-altering in so many forms. And I'm not sure where you're at personally, what your belief system is, but I will say if you're in a place of uncertainty, and Aaron, I don't know why this happened, Aaron, I don't know what I believe, I'd encourage you just to start asking questions, just to start, God, please give me a sense of peace with what has happened, the sense of loss, the sense of hurt. Allow me to have a sense of truth and an understanding of where my heart is at right now. And we're never, ever, ever going to have all the answers. We're not. As human beings, we're not. But the reality is that we have the ability to find a sense of less acute heart pain, if you will, in the ability to pray to our Creator. And it does things beyond words. And that could be really hard sometimes with wherever you may be. But I can tell you, even my darkest moments, it has brought forth a sense of clarity and peace and strength that goes beyond all understanding. And having an aspect of trust and faith and standing in a truth that I have found can't waver over my 45 years has truly, let's say, saved me. And has been an anchor in a time of right now when, I lost my father almost 6 months ago. It's been a reprieve. It's a process. And so know, wherever you're listening to this, I'm thinking of you. My thoughts and heart go out to you, but know that you're not alone. Know your journey and how you're feeling right now is individualized, is your own, but you're not alone. And as we go forward, I hope you will remind yourself that every day, that you are beautiful, you are wonderful, and if you're aching and you're hurting, that is okay. Taking 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year at a time. And as we go forward, my friends, I'm encouraging you and wishing you a tremendous amount of peace, love, and goodness.